Hi, everyone. I'm Pip from Seymour Digital Media. You're listening to KnowHow Marketing Lab podcast. This podcast brings together different experts in marketing from our Facebook group, Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer. Each week we get on here and we talk about something search marketing like Google Ads or SEO, social media marketing from Facebook to TikTok, or website marketing. If you're a marketer or aspiring marketer, a business owner or entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. We're going to share the best SEO, search, social, and website strategies. We share tips and hacks, Google Ads strategies, what's going on in the current market. Each week we discuss something exciting and awesome in marketing. Today, we're talking about project management trackers, not project management systems. What do you think, Rina? Systems or trackers?
I think it's systems because you need to track more than there's a lot of things to track. So system.
There is.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about this because we know that, so this is a talk for marketers or people who manage projects, and some people are going to be better than us at this, but we wanted to talk about this because, well, I've been like that real estate agent that constantly changes brokerages thinking it's the brokerage that's the problem, but really it's me. And Rina, you have stuck to one system.
Yeah, I had a few systems. You can hear me? You can't hear me?
It's me, not
you.
you.
Hear me?
Don't worry.
Okay, good. All right, then I'm just going to start talking. So I had a few.
Voice.
Okay, I'll stop talking.
It's me, not you. Never mind. Go on, please.
Okay, good. All right. Basically, I did try a few different things out in the early days, and I just found project management systems to be super big and bloated and expensive, especially in that day. There weren't any real small priced offerings available. It was everything or nothing. So I did Basecamp for a while.
Ooh, I didn't know that. How was that?
Yeah, I did. I didn't love it at the time, and I haven't actually reviewed it lately, so it might have changed. If you think it's changed, then please, by all means, put your thoughts in the comments below. But for me, it was really hard to see all the projects at once. You had like a separate space for each project. It was nice because you could put the clients in there, but sometimes you don't want the client seeing everything. And it was, the communication was really difficult. So, everybody has their own method of communicating. Some people put things through email, some people put things in the project management system. And then I had this issue with project management system and then time tracker for invoicing. And then the third piece was the communication. So I actually chose 3 different versions that are all synced together. And I decided to go with the version that made sense for me because probably everybody knows
version.
I got hit by a car. And so I needed to find something that was super simple to work, allowed me a bunch of different views. And so I actually went with Trello for my project management, FreshBooks for my time tracking and invoicing, and Slack for communication primarily. So those 3 things work together really well for me because I can still see all the projects at once. So I have all my projects. I have projects and programs for those of you that don't know, because it took me a while to figure this out too. Anything that repeats month after month is a program, not a project, but it works the same way as a project. You still have deliverables that are due within that month. So I have a programs board, a projects board, and a small projects board, and a leads board. So I actually ended up using Trello for managing my projects, my programs, and my CRM. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Which is a customer management system. Just
right.
To make sure we have the acronyms out there. So people
that's right. That's right. And so one of the things that I wanted was something that was super visual. So it looks like a Post-it note. Each project looks like a Post-it note. It has all the checklists. I can assign the checklists. The bottom has an activity that becomes the client CRM piece of it. So I can keep track of the client and all the phone calls and emails that happen. And then you can do an add up on Trello, which I really love. If you've got your projects organized, I have my big projects are organized by 3 cards on the same column. each contractor, designer, and developer, each piece of the project has its own card, and you can turn it into a Gantt form to view it, which helps me organize my development because I organize my project timeline according to development. So it takes a very specific amount of time for development. So then I usually go, okay, if we want to start development here, like when do we need to start design? And so I can see Carmen, my designer, line up, my developer line up. And then I just keep my developer pretty much back to back with projects. And then we organize the design around it because usually design doesn't quite take as much.
And Trello works perfectly for you with
Yeah.
FreshBooks. Are they attached to
Yeah.
that?
No, what we do is every time there's a project or a program, it gets a project in FreshBooks, and all of the contractors that are working on that program or project log their hours. If they're internal staff, they log their hours directly into the project. And then if we have external contractors, we have separated budgets for them, and then my project manager adds that time into the project overall so that I have a complete project organized according to all contractors and tasks, what kind of tasks. So then it makes it a lot easier to know if I've gone over budget, under budget, and then it helps me predict estimates more accurately in the future if I have all that information in one spot. So yeah, that's how I work it.
Interesting, because we started out using Trello and then
Mhm.
left. And Trello changed, I think, a year after we left because it's got that Kanban style, right? And it's really
Yes, it does. Yes,
it
it
is
does.
a really nice view. And I know ClickUp, I think maybe even Asana can do the same
Yeah.
thing in a different view, but that I think that view is actually called Kanban, right? Is that correct?
So for my big projects, I don't use it Kanban style. I use each project has its own card, and there are 3 cards per project on the lot, so that I can see the Gantt view. But on my small projects, where it's a lot of small little things that come in from our clients, that is always organized on, and same with my programs. Programs are always organized by Kanban, and they're on 3 separate boards.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
that's a, I so I've really struggled with project management systems, and
Yeah.
reminds me of a story. One day, if you're watching, ask me about the tree. But during this year, I changed project management systems from, I think I started from Trello to, I think we went with ClickUp. So I
Click.
tried Asana
Yeah.
but didn't dig it. And ClickUp, we realized that everything we did in ClickUp ends up going into Google Sheets. So we
All
were
right.
like, wow, because we're doing SEO and Google Ads.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so all of a sudden then we were like, okay, let's just stay in Google Sheets. And we bought like this inexpensive sheet thing that had macros that you could have your clients in. And it was really good, but I think it overwhelmed some of our team.
Yeah, this is the dilemma. Is
Yeah.
change management is always the dilemma. It doesn't matter if you're onboarding a project management system for the first time. If you can't get buy-in from your team, it's very hard to make sure it remains accurate. That is
Mm.
absolutely true. So that's why for me having a project manager was probably the single most liberating thing that I actually did for myself, which really impacted, because project management, as we all know, if hopefully we all know by now, is super connected to cash flow management, right? So if you mess up on your project management or you get behind on something, then obviously your payments don't come in on time. And that can really blow an agency out of the water if
That
you
just
have
happened
too
to me.
many.
But
Yeah,
not on
exactly.
project management. We moved accounting systems thinking that was a good idea. And it, you know what I learned? I have to be in charge of it. It is not, it needs fine detail tracking. And
Yeah.
as I told someone today, if your name is bookkeeper and I'm not being told every day that there's a late payment, you're not
Yes.
going to have
Yeah.
a job. But yeah, it's funny to think that because you do a different kind of project than us, right? Like you're doing more websites, and websites have a start date and an end date
Yes,
and a launch date.
yeah, we have projects and programs, and I think
Yes.
SEO is definitely, and Google Ads too, are both programs, and that's a little bit of a different beast in a way. So how do you organize that in your project management system then?
Painfully, no. We actually we went international. So
Right.
we ended up hiring Stephen a while back and he is from South Africa,
Hmm.
and he's worked at like 18 different agencies. His opinion was very validated, and he really liked, like, we were when he came on board, he was like, ooh, maybe you should look at changing your systems. And I'm like, we've already looked at that. And he's like, I know a system, and you should check out these two systems, and they're specifically designed for agencies. And so yeah, I definitely bought in, and it was as expensive as Asana, which is not that bad if you have to
No.
have a system. So
Yeah.
I think on average, it's probably about $2,000 a year.
All right. So I pay monthly for mine, and actually, I have no idea how much I pay. I think it's about 90 something dollars for Trello,
Okay.
which works for me. So that's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's same
Uh,
as what you're doing.
yeah, and it
Yeah,
depends
it's
on what you pack.
$91.02.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, our systems, is it perfect? No, but it doesn't give me what I need to see. A lot more of. So we do
Yeah.
our time tracking in that system. It's called
Hmm.
Chase, but it isn't very good. It's not. I will tell you that number one time tracking, FreshBooks is Rockstar. Like
Yeah.
FreshBooks is Rockstar
Yeah, I
for,
love it.
yeah. And my son, I love FreshBooks a little bit. Why did we leave FreshBooks? Because we do multi-currency. And
Yeah.
so we thought, it was sold to us that QuickBook does multi-currency better. It doesn't.
I don't
Uh,
think it does.
it
Yeah.
doesn't. No, I'm
And
telling you, it does not.
yeah.
It just does
Yeah.
it differently, and
Yeah.
we've had to make some adjustments in there, so our accounting is a little bit more convoluted now. But so don't change. I think one of the biggest lessons, well, we have to do one of our. It's the end of the year, so we got to do our lessons of the year.
Oh yeah, that's right. I got so many this year
Oh,
actually.
so
That'll be
many
good.
this year. How about you guys? Oh, y'all.
Yes, so many, exactly. Okay, so some of the things you want to consider when you're organizing for the project management system is what are all the pieces that you need. So it is, suppose it would be technically easier to track your projects in a project management system, but I like FreshBooks separately, and we're just always checking the projects in FreshBooks, and they line up. The project names are exactly the same in FreshBooks as they are in the Trello card. So
Awesome.
it's really easy to find them and not get lost. And we have a very specific way of naming our projects. So that also really
Ooh,
helps because the
conventions.
naming conventions, absolutely. So that really helps so that you don't ever have duplicates or no one's guessing and putting time in the wrong spot, which is very helpful. The other thing you want to consider is communication. How do you want to communicate with your team? We use Slack for conversation. We use Trello for client management. So if something gets stalled, that information goes on the Trello card in the activity. If a client has given approval for something, that information goes in the activity. We'll just make a note by email, dated, whatever. And so we can go back and find it if we need it, or any of that kind of stuff goes in the activity. And then our questions and our our thinking and all of that stuff goes into Slack. And each Slack channel has the exact same naming convention for our projects. So each project and each program gets its own Slack channel. And then the appropriate contractors are put into each channel. So that's how we organize it. While they're three separate platforms, they're incredibly coordinated through the naming convention.
I like that. That's helpful.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, so
Yeah.
project management systems should have, or the things you want in them are things like time tracking, if you
Mhm.
can, and you want communication of sorts for each project. And what else?
Yeah.
So there's time tracking, communication,
Checklists, some
check.
kind of checklist or task list or something like that is the mainstay. You want to be able to attach documents to it or have easy access to documents from it.
Mhm.
So that's one thing. So I like to use Drive, and then I share the Drive links on my Trello card for everything.
Okay, I get that.
Um,
Yeah, because
yeah,
each of our clients they get an account in Chase, an account in QuickBooks, they get an account in the Drive, and all of those things are attached. I know Quick or Chase to the Drive is very connected. We use a Google Doc for our project notes so that we can go
oh,
back, and we
yeah,
actually do a H2 by date so that you can use that. But we also are
Yes, I like
right
that.
now, because we just moved probably
Mhm.
6 months ago to our final tracking or our management system in Chase. We're just like learning how to use all the reports and
Yeah.
all the things. So
Yeah, and I think that's one area that my system is really great. It works. We've tested it so many times and it's perfect. I love it. However, I don't generate a lot of project reports from it. I usually generate some reports on FreshBooks for projects and programs just to check in and make sure that the that the number of hours that we've allocated for different things is correct and doesn't need to be shifted. But I don't really, and I can also tell like how FreshBooks is great because you can assign different costs for each contractor. So I can really easily tell the costs on a project,
that's
which we weren't able to do that even just a couple of years ago on FreshBooks. So that's a whole nother level of layer of information. But what kind of reports can you generate in what you're
mm.
in your? I'd like to know more about that.
For one thing, I was able to see. So one of the reasons I wanted to change systems was, and I know we all feel this way if we're in marketing. We do a lot. We're running around. We're doing all these things all the time for our clients. We don't tell our clients, and we often lots of things are out of scope. Lots of things are above and beyond, so we wanted to show our clients how much extra
All
value they
right.
were getting. That was the biggest thing, right? Am I able to do that? A little bit more now. I was more able to see that the contractors were putting in their hours every
Right.
week, and that you can't do. So things like that. Just let's create a system. So I also figured out exactly what you said earlier, which
Mm.
was people are putting hours in different places, right? Like
Yeah.
we have a morning meeting. Where is everybody
Yeah.
doing that? So you definitely need to go over
Yeah.
systems with people. And once you learn the system, you need documentation.
I love, yeah, exactly. SOPs galore. But that's what I love about having Deanne on the team is that she looks over all of that on a day to day, where I might check in at the end of the month. That's where I'm looking
Okay,
to
we
make
know
sure
you're
that things are working.
gloating about your
I
project
know. I'm
managers.
sorry. I just yeah, if I knew how amazing project management, the addition of project management to my team would be, I would have done it years ago. I didn't think of that really as, not that I didn't understand it was valuable, but I didn't see it as billable hours. So as soon as I started organizing my pricing to reflect project management inside of the estimates and giving that a budget, then I could actually have somebody do it. But up until that point, I was thinking project management was my job and I didn't really track the hours for that because it's
You're saying you didn't
communication.
track your own, yeah.
That's correct. So this has changed everything quite a bit. And now we can offer much higher standard of customer care, in fact. Like that's where it comes down to, and it's just good for the brand.
Good.
So
That's the
yeah.
thing. We have probably where right now I think we could accept maybe one more client if it was of a certain caliber, but we wouldn't
Yeah.
accept another client
Hmm.
because the name of the game is exceptional customer service. And I mean, do we do perfect? No, but we try
Yeah.
damn hard to do really well because if you're good at your job in marketing and you provide results, people will leave you anyway. So I don't think we should joke about
Yeah.
that, but
Marketing is a particularly difficult client retention. I do have some clients that have stuck out for, I had one client that was for like 12 years before they finished with their business. And so you can get long-term clients, but
I
um
have one for 7 years. They're still going, but they I could consider them friends after so long. But yeah, and it's the good relationships that matter, right? Because a lot of people don't
yeah.
understand what we're doing.
Yes, and therefore there's this entire group of business owners that sort of hop between marketing agencies and they'll do a year, they might do a couple or whatever, they'll get to the next level and then they'll see some kind of service that they're looking to have, or someone will come in, this is the other thing, and they're like, marketing is like a piece of string. It's never really ever completely done. So however much we're doing is usually based on a budget and a package. And then somebody else will come along and say, hey, you've neglected this piece. And it's true. It's often true. But we would be happy to take on that piece also. But that's usually the new shiny thing that the clients usually go looking for at a different agency.
I had a client and the system's changed. So I had this client love, and they recently had to take a little break, put a pause on their marketing. But when we started working with them, we were doing their Google ads, but we were doing their
Yeah.
search ads. And then they looked themselves up, and somebody else or somebody had created local service ads, which are separate from
Yes.
search ads, but the client is not going to know that.
Yes.
And so they got upset at us. So we were just like, we got to fix that. And we fixed it.
Yes.
Did we ever let the client really know? We did let them know there was separation, but that we'll take care of it. And it's very interesting industry that way. That
Totally.
And you're right. I think that I like the idea of marketing's like a string. Like we got asked yesterday, we've done all the SEO things. This client we've been working with for a year or two, and I was like, now it's time to redo everything because it's changed.
Yeah, SEO is ongoing because Google changes its algorithm, and that's the thing that is the issue right there. I had somebody.
Competition is coming up
Yeah.
behind you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You're always needing to look at that strategy again and seeing what's better. And if there are other opportunities that have come up in the meantime that maybe weren't there previously, those are really important things to have your eyeball on. So yeah, I always find it really, really interesting when somebody says, oh yeah, we had that done. And it's like, okay, and when? And how much did they do? And every time you update your WordPress site, you seem to end up with more code that needs minification.
Yeah.
And every time a client puts up 10 blogs, then all those files need to be compressed and all that
clients
stuff.
don't usually do, if you want like the ultimate to do your SEO like full on, there are tools now. And with Chat GPT, Perplexity, things like that, you can actually write better than you would have ever written before. If you know the prompts. And so it does take just as long, I've discovered.
It can, absolutely, because you need to add value to it. So someone said this morning that you need to turn the content from AI into something that's more human. And I remember thinking about that and thinking, oh, that's an interesting way of putting it because that's intangible. How do you decide what's human? And then I realized it's really about, we've talked about this before. It's not me realizing it's this very well, but it's really about putting your own value on it so that it's different than all of the other posts in the world that are on the same topic, right? So it might be a case study that you could give good example for. It could be your own personal experience. So these are all the best practices. And then how does that translate into your own experience? And what did you notice that's different than what other people are saying?
And when you read something, like if you're watching this and you get to this point in the video, ask me for the sparkle prompt. There's a prompt that I have called sparkle.
You said that to me. I haven't figured out how to do it.
Oh, you just put it in ChatGPT. Press return.
I did, and then I got something really weird, but I'll show that to you later.
And then you have to put sparkle in, and then you have to put like your blog post that you want.
Oh, I understand. Okay, got it. I didn't understand. Okay, got
it's
it.
just, but the thing about this sparkle, if you look at it, it's like I'm pulling it through and finding out different things about it, but we're very off topic. So let's go back quickly.
I know.
So if you're stayed with us, we just hightailed it into ChatGPT. Rodney actually in the Facebook group, Business Marketing Mixer, turned around and let us know that there's a prompt you can put in to ChatGPT for managing a project. I'm going to try that after and see like if
interesting. I love that.
Yeah. So the world is changing, right? And all our systems are changing, which just makes us able to be really good at our jobs. Do a much better, like I can do a much better job of SEOing now because I can put like an image in Gemini and get an alt tag if they don't have people in the image, right? And it would be hard for me to describe an image properly. You try it. It might sound easy, but I find it hard. So
I find it super easy doing that, but that's my Virgo showing up. I'm always corrected everyone else's. I'm like, no, that it's a woman who's wearing a white top and she's doing a yoga pose. And she's doing this yoga pose in front of a
Yeah.
building. Because
So-
what you want to do with the alt text is paint the picture for someone who can't see.
Yeah, which I think is very beautiful when you imagine it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you can describe things to other people to make them go, oh, like there's a museum down the street, and I say, when people are like, oh, what's it like? I'm like, it's like candy for the eyes. It's just,
Really?
it's like, yeah, it's really interesting. But back to project management tools, I would say one of the things I would say is we have a couple of friends in marketing, go figure, who use spreadsheets still. Or I know somebody that still uses Basecamp. So whatever you choose, it's going to be what works for you. I would get a tour of people's systems. Marketing people aren't really able to show their project management systems well because it does have client information, and it's not pertinent or good idea for us to share client information all the time. We try to keep it private. But that being said, we can help each other, and I use my own business in our project management tools. So if anybody wants a tour of ours, we can show it. Rena, we should do a trade-off or get a couple.
Yeah, I don't mind. I've got some
Zoom.
Yeah, I've got some fake projects already set up. What I do on Trello that actually saves me a ton of time, and I create templated checklists for my tasks. So I have a website rebuild, I have a website new build, I have SEO onboarding, I have all of this stuff, all of the checklists.
We have Google Ads master sheet. We have an SEO on page master sheet.
Right.
Website quality audit. Anyway, so many things. But if you want to learn more about the things that we can give you, come to our paid group. Other than that, we'll talk about that again down the road. And yes, Rena, we are out of time.
What would you have to tell? You can't just say join the paid group. Where did they find it?
Oh, it's not available yet. Give it a week or two.
Okay. Okay. In a week or two, we'll drop that link in the Business Marketing Mixer Facebook group. So if you're watching this elsewhere and you want to come and find that group, then that's where you can find us.
Yeah. We're there every week. We do a live every Thursday at 11 talking about marketing topics, whether that be for marketers or for business owners and people who love marketing. And next week, what's next week? Did I put the 4? Did somebody?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm almost there.
Are you? I'm close.
Yeah.
I just go to the top of the Facebook group, and if you go to the top of the Facebook group,
it's brand consistency across platforms.
Oh, that's
and it is Greg and me who will be giving that. Yay. Greg and I will be giving that.
Look at that. I just learned. So if you're with us right now, I just learned I did mess up the banner because it says with everyone, we're going to be talking about leveraging AI in marketing. That's not true.
Oh, just a second. Let's just check that. Oh, yeah, that's not true. Okay, yes. I just double checked it.
But the brand consistency next week is what we'll be talking about. I will be watching. So come join me, watch Rena and Greg as they dive
I've
into
got
the
a great example. I've got a great example that I got from TELUS yesterday. I'm very excited about it.
Do you need to share screen?
Oh, I might want to do that next week. And I know how to even. So we'll do that. Right on.
Okay. All right. We'll see you next week. If you have any questions, concerns, needs, wants, just message us in the Facebook group or on any of our channels, and we will make sure to get back to you. Talk soon.